Morena, it's still morning, I think. Hello, everyone. For those that don't know who I am, my name is Peter May. I'm the General Manager for Verbrec's New Zealand operation based in good old New Plymouth, Taranaki. And it's wonderful to be here. Nick, thanks for the invite and really appreciate being part of this. I have to say we had a great sponsorship of the morning event and we were glad to be part of that. A lot of what we heard reflects really well with us as a company and where we believe we have a role to play in New Zealand. So without further ado, I suppose, where do I start? Who is Verbrec? I often get asked the name Verbrec itself. What does it mean? Where does it come from? It's actually a Nordic name, and the original branding of the Verbrec name was supposed to provide some visualization of being resilient, being adaptable, and being able to really, in essence, be around for the long time yet. And I think that's some of the brand ethos that in the name itself we're trying to encapsulate. So for those that don't know Verbrec, we've been in the region 38 years, I think, more or less, in various forms. For those maybe that have heard of ITL is a company that cut its teeth originally on supporting Methanex, the growth of Methanex, working with the oil and gas sector in New Plymouth. And I think the transferable skills that we have as a company into the renewable space is ideally suited, and that's kind of the place we want to play at the moment. And so listening to some of what was shared, I came up with an acronym which I'm sure some of you may have heard it, called VUCA, V-U-C-A. And in essence, it's trying to encapsulate the fact that, everything's still quite volatile, certainly in the engineering sector. We've got the U for uncertainty, the C for complex, and the A for ambiguity or ambiguous. And if we play that out, I think as energy professionals, and certainly where Verbrec itself wants to believe we play a role, is understanding how we can strive for clarity rather than certainty. I think certainty is a tough one, but clarity, we can certainly play our part in trying to understand that clarity. And how are we doing that? Well, in essence, we're a multidisciplinary engineering services company and project management company as well. In the whole life cycle, or across the whole life cycle of services. And we've got some vertical business lines essentially through engineering, which is our bread and butter. And that's multidisciplinary engineering services all the way through from, mechanical, civil and structural, I&E, and process engineering and design. And we've got a strong design component with a lot of fancy software that we use, and picking up, I think, on the discussions around efficiency. We have, in fact, been very fortunate to be part of the Methanex decarbonisation that recently was done. We saved, or the Methanex saved, over 50,000 tonnes of CO2 a year through their decarbonisation, and we played a large part in that, in debottlenecking the distillation columns, getting rid of the reliance on steam. So we were very proud to be part of that. Kaitoki recently with First Gas, I was mentioned with one of the speakers. We've been involved in the resilience of the southern network, making sure that the compression has still some longevity to play when we bring in what we call renewable fuels. James and his team are trying to bring into the network. And of course, it goes without saying too, the Broadlands biogas upgrade that First Gas are almost starting up. I think they're probably about a week, I don't want to speak on their behalf, but a week, 2 weeks away from starting that up. We've been part of that right from the start, and we're very proud and also in many ways, I suppose, quite keen to sort of see where that's going to go in the mix of the energy sector here in New Zealand. I think one more thing just to mention, this is not death by PowerPoint, is the fact that we do have a competency training organisation too that's a subsidiary of Verbrec, that we provide certification in the competency side of IECEX. That's worth mentioning as well. Possibly just something that everyone doesn't know is the fact that the road that Verbrec took over the last sort of 15 years has been quite fragmented in terms of names and branding. And I think someone would have probably known us as Logicams up until sort of about 2 years ago. That Logicams kind of started its initial journey, I suppose, as way back as 1988. So in Australia, where Logicams merged, I think in 1995, somewhere around there, into Logicams. It came into New Zealand and then purchased way back ITL at that time. And then obviously the name changed from Logicams to Verbrec. So it gives you a flavour of who we are, what we're doing. Greg, we've got a stand. We would welcome some discussions. Please get hold of us and find out a little bit more of what we do, what value we can add. And as I said, our strategy is long-term oil and gas. We'd like to make sure that we can play a part in the decarbonisation, and I think the gas transition, which is really important for us in New Zealand, and that you've got active, collaborative people involved in that sector. So please come and talk to us. Thanks very much.
Hello. I guess a bit of background into TIS is we're a services company that have prominently served the oil and gas sector. And in 2019, we saw a shift when the oil and gas ban came into place here, and a need to start to diversify our skill set. So to start with as well, I guess our skill set is in instrumentation, industrial electrical, gas detection, mechanical services, valve overhauling, to IT now as well, and lab calibration. So we have a very broad range of services, and we wanted to apply that to, new energy areas. So we started a company, H2X. We bought an electrolyzer, which we have a mock-up there of the Enapter EL 4.0, and we started producing hydrogen and learning around how to compress it, how to store it, some of the nuances with hydrogen. One of the fun things is it doesn't get cold when you do a pressure drop. It heats up and does all the stuff that you don't want it to do. So we've found ways around managing that, and basically expanded our knowledge in that space and where it fits and where it doesn't fit. So hugely important is where it doesn't fit. Right now we're sitting on the edge of, mass hydrogen uptake. If we can get our hydrogen, supply side sorted, the demand side now is going to come with diesel blending and fuel cell electric trucks. These are close. Our economics with diesel are looking at parity in 2026, 2027. So any design and engineering now kind of would see, by the time you actually get to execution, you're at a point of parity, and then you're actually into the points where you're starting to be economic against other fuels. So I think there's a lot of visibility and knowledge out there amongst hydrogen companies that's happening. The story's not told well to other people. So what we aim to do is to help others along that journey, and if anybody has an opportunity in that space, feel free to talk to us, and we're very happy to share our knowledge and what we've learned over the years. And also in biogas as well. So we spent a lot of time in understanding the process involved in biogas upgrading. We've made a lot of connections in plant suppliers around that space, particularly membrane technologies and VOC, H2S, and siloxane treatment. So we're doing a lot of learning ourselves, and we're happy to take risks and come to the party in the decarbonisation journey. So it's a very lonely space to be pushing out into the unknown and taking risks. And so we'll stick our hands up and say we're here to take risks with you, and we win together or fail together. All right. Great. Thank you all.